What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. It's Monday. That can mean only one thing. We are, of course, going to be checking out the world ranking, see what's changed due to the results of round 5 of the Rugby Championship, and then afterwards we'll be going over the Superbru results where there's been some big results, and I actually did okay. So hey, there's going to be some positives to go over this week. So starting off with the world rankings. Now, in terms of teams switching up, we've seen a lot in the past few weeks, teams switching up because they're winning or losing games and dropping and gaining places. This time, it's not quite the same. Teams winning this week being both South Africa and New Zealand, not moving up any places, but just gaining those points. You can see that South Africa have closed that gap up now to where France are, so they still hold third. New Zealand will still hold fourth, but they've definitely closed that gap towards second place. So in terms of the winners, not a lot to talk about, but playing away and actually winning those games has given them a big boost in points. I'm quite surprised to see just how much South Africa have in fact boosted from last week. Now, the teams that are switching up are the two losing teams this week, Argentina and Australia, both dropping down. Argentina go from 6th down to 8th, and Australia go from 8th down to 9th, really getting close now towards that, 79 marker, breaking that 80. I don't really remember ever seeing Australia go below an 80 marker before. So Australia going down, of course, playing at home and losing ends up taking more points away from you than if you lost away. So that's why they've dropped down. But again, they've not really dropped down because other teams have won. It's just because taking those points away sees them drop below the points of Scotland and Wales, not that Scotland and Wales have actually played anything to move above them. So it's slightly harder to gauge in terms of those world rankings, but I'm sure a lot of people will be surprised to be seeing the Wallabies down in a world ranking of 9th, because it'll be quite a fun game to see what these two teams, Argentina and Australia, playing teams like Wales and Scotland at the minute, to see those games go on. I think there could be some really close games, but it's still some big news to see Australia dropping down. In terms of the rest of the world, not a great deal to talk about. Not a lot of other games going on that's affecting any of these scores, so we don't really get to see anything moving on. Again, I would always love to see a bit more of these games. Hopefully, at some point I can watch a bit more of the Tier 2 stuff. But yeah, not many switching up, really just because of those games losing. We watched two teams drop down, and we watched Wales and Scotland move back up. But yeah, a shorter video this week in terms of the World Rugby coverage, because there's not a lot to talk about in terms of those teams moving. Moving on to the Superbru then, where of course we'll be starting off going over the predictor series, a series I'm not doing very well in, but I actually had an alright week this week. I actually got both calls correct, which might be the first week since the Rugby Championship started. It's been such a fun tournament to cover in terms of unpredictability. So Australia 37, New Zealand 39 in that tight-knit game. Seen so much discourse going on about that late minute decision from the referee, really shaking that game up. So difference only 2 points. Really hard to get this one correct. Scottish Squid actually got the closest by calling New Zealand's win by 4. I was quite a way off. I went for 14. I was in the higher end, which, at one point it looked like it could have been going this way. But it looks like a lot of people did back New Zealand for this game. Mojo really mixing it up, going for 51 to Australia. Imagine if that came in. That would have been a big win. But we see a couple of points. Yeah, this is where we want it to be. Ian, again, got some nice little picks in there. Oh, so close to managing to steal that point. And a couple of people getting in there with the match point as well. In terms of Argentina versus South Africa, I was a little bit closer with this one. I just missed that bonus point. I went for South Africa 10. Looks like a lot of people joined me on South Africa by 10. South Africa 11 was the minimum you wanted to be. And Scottish Squid there again on the bonus point. So getting those calls correct over the weekend is always nice to see. Total difference was 16. A lot of people back in South Africa, but a lot of people actually backed Argentina. I really thought that difference to be a bit bigger. But Mojo again going for these wow calls. Mojo knows they got to play something out the bag. They were holding there on that 4 points. They thought if they just get these two big results, that would be the way to go. I mean, to be fact, it wouldn't have even need to be that crazy. Had Argentina won by, I don't even know, 10 or 11, you probably would have been getting some big points going on there. So in terms of the round then, Scottish Squid sees themselves at the top there. 2 win points, 1 match point, 1 bonus point. Big score, 5 points coming in this round. That is a big increase. Dave doing pretty well himself there, actually getting 2 picks from 2. Again, 2.5, 2.5's going down. Somehow I've ended up being like 6th. Just by getting them correct. I don't even know how that's possible. Quite a few people join me on second place. A couple of people getting 0. I'm going to guess either wrong picks or not having the time to be able to put your picks in on the weekend, or people have just given up because it's all just gone a bit mad in the predictor series. So in terms of the leaderboards at the end of round 5, Ian still hanging in there in that first spot. 8 win points, 1.5 match points, 1 bonus, sees you on 10.5. Scott Rugby, Cersei, Rugby 15, all these people moving up a couple of places now. 8 points, 7 points. In fact, it's kind of close. Second place, all the way down. I don't even know. Maybe Irish Dude I would include in there. Yeah, it's only 2 points away. There's time for that to be made up. I think Bowie might be slightly outside. I think we all are on those 4 points. But Ian's looking like if they just get 2 picks correct. I think if you just get both picks correct next week, really hard to close that gap. That could be a victory for you. Scott Rugby and Cersei, very close, really catching up though. Only 2.5 points in it. If you get both calls correct, Ian gets them wrong, gets some match points. It can still be recovered. I'm down here in the whitewash of 4 points. It's me. I don't know why I'm up here so high in the 4 points, considering a lot of other people have 4 points. I'm going to imagine it's because I have the win points as opposed to the bonus points going in there. A couple of people on 3 going down to 1. So yeah, I feel like I'm out of it. I feel like I'm not going to be able to recover it this round unless I have something quite incredible. But I certainly think there's a close battle for second and third place, all the way down to here, really. But yeah, that top spot, I think you're probably looking at these top 3 people. Someone here is going to be winning. And then moving on to the big one, the Fantasy League. Now, of course, if you haven't seen these videos before, this is the scores. If you want to really break it down into numbers and stats, there's a lot going on here. I haven't had a little look through people's teams, but big news, your boy, Mad Dragon, actually won a round. Actually managed to finally win a round. Still didn't have a good captain. Anyone who watched last week's video where I basically said Will Jordan's doing nothing, I'm officially dropping Will Jordan and picking someone out. The 1 week I drop Will Jordan, goes and scores a try, didn't he? So that was a waste of time. I ended up picking Mapimpi as my captain, who touched the ball once, I think, basically in the whole game. So I've still not had one round where I've had a good captain, but it's managing to just hold me out there. A lot of the other guys basically in the forwards are really keeping me in this. Don't really know how I ended up doing quite so well this round. A tie coming in on a close 161.5. Big scores there coming from the captain of Caleb Clark, doing well. I also got a bit screwed in my scrum half department. You might see here the orange 11 from a tie is Hendrickse scoring well. You'll see no orange line for me, and that is because I had the Australian scrum half who got yellow carded, so he ended up with -1, and my backup scrum half was Bertrano, who got -3 for him having a yellow card. So my scrum half's not doing very well this week. A couple of people did join me in there as well. Sean coming in there, 158, very close again, very close round in terms of these top scores. Flangella making a big increase into 156. I'll go over that a bit afterwards, and then Alex on 150.5. So it's not really that different, to be fair, up the top. It really gets a bit different down here. I don't know what went on with some people's teams. There's a lot of switching up and stuff. But yeah, some big scores going on here. Like I said, Caleb Clark was your man who you wanted, really. To be fair, Will Jordan and Geordie Barrett also scored well in that back 3. So New Zealand back 3 scored really well. Your centres you wanted, like Damien Dialende did well. Mwanga did well at fly half. Hendrickse was your guy at the scrum half position. Your back row, surprisingly, all Australia. Pretty much Valetini and Pete Samu scored extremely well. Didn't really matter who you went for in terms of hooker, as long as you were going for Taukeaho or Malcolm Marks, both of them scoring 2 tries, both of them scoring about 19 points. You will see Flangella here gets 38 for making Malcolm Marks the captain. Now, this was a bit of a weird one. It was hard to keep track of the leaderboards this week because, of course, we had the Thursday game. Then the leaderboards all updated because of the game on Thursday, and then they updated again because of the game on Saturday. And what I did actually notice was at the end of round on Saturday, I did have a look after the game, after they did the initial updates. They do multiple updates over the weekend. These even might shift a little bit. And I did see it was slightly different. Etai was actually out in front. I think Alex was second. I was about 4th till they did a further update earlier on this afternoon. But Flangella was quite low. Flangella was down in like 9th or 10th or something, was really low down. All I can imagine in order for you to have so many boosted points is that you actually had a player who just didn't play, like Adi Sarvea or Andre Pollard or something, that maybe Superbru was subbed out for you. That's given you a real bonus. So sometimes those substitutions come in really lucky for you, especially if you've mixed up your captain or whatnot. But I think Malcolm Marks helped you, so it really pushes you up the board. Now, because of course those teams shifted up a lot from the Thursday and the Saturday game, the leaderboards aren't quite correct in like how people have moved around. So just for ease, I'm going to drop on the screen the scores we actually had from the last video so that people can see where they actually managed to shift up. So starting off, Alex retains the top top spot 5 weeks in a row, although it is getting incredibly close. It's getting awfully close to that top level, so she still manages to hold out. Flangella closes that gap up. Like I said, from that game after Saturday, I don't know what the switch was, but you boosted really up there. Only 2 points behind now in first place, but still holding out that second spot. Etai remains in third place, but now only 5 points behind first place. So those top 3 points there is exceptional. 5 points between first and third is crazy. Your boy Mad Dragon does actually manage to close up the gap there. I've overtaken Dave. I was down, where was I? I was in 7th last week, so I've managed to pull it back all the way to 4th. I'm about 20 points out. That might be a bit much. I would need to have a bit of an outlandish captain who not a lot of other people pick and also does incredibly well. Gonna have to work on my thoughts. You guys might want to play it a bit safer in the top draw there. Dave drops down from 4th down to 5th. Sean climbs up the board. I don't know where Sean was in 10th last week. Climbs up to 6th place, really closing that gap up. Top Notch Rugby down from 5th into 7th. Klansman has actually dropped again from 6th to 8th. Bowie's gone from 8th to 9th. Irish Dude making a bit of a comeback from 13th up to 10th. So some big switches around. There's the potential, I think, here for pretty much any of these 3 people to win. Maybe I can get myself onto a podium. Maybe. I don't know if I see me winning here. I think I would have to have quite an incredible comeback. Dave is about 35 points out. Again, might be a bit much. It might be needing to pick 6 Argentina players, make one of them a captain and have them beat South Africa at home. That might need to be the outlandish thing in order to make these big recoveries. I certainly think between the top 3, maybe the top 4, I think me and Dave and Sean maybe, we can maybe battle it out for like a 3rd place podium or something if all goes correctly. But congratulations to me, I guess. Sorry, that sounds a bit a bit boasty. Congratulations to me for winning the round, but congratulations to Alex for still holding out that top spot after 5 weeks. But Flangella and Etai are really closing that gap. Going to be really exciting going into next week, guys. Make sure you are subscribed to keep up to date with the team announcements, the preview videos that will come out later this week, and we'll be doing the match reports, and then finally we'll be doing one last world rankings videos on the Monday coming up. So make sure you are subscribed to know when the videos come out. If you've enjoyed this one today, remember to leave it a like, and I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye bye.